Brian Lehrer on WNYC, and during this membership drive, we'll be doing a series of short segments at the end of the show that we're calling Spring Cleaning. It's about organizing your stuff and your life in 6 different ways on 6 different days. First up for day 1, organizing your clothes. For a lot of people, spring cleaning does begin in the closet, and it can feel like a kind of bottomless task, right? There's so much to go through and so many decisions to make, and at the end of it, you're sometimes left with heaping trash bags of clothing labeled donate, sell, and toss that you're not really sure what to do with. So today our goal is to help you get them out of your house once and for all into the best possible places. Our guest is Kaitlyn Wells, reporter at the New York Times product review website Wirecutter, and she's joining us now for the last few minutes here to offer some insight about how to responsibly and satisfyingly purge your closet. Hey, Kaitlyn, welcome to WNYC.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me.
So is there a best way to go through your clothes as you pull them out of your closets and drawers?
There is definitely a best way to go about this. As you said, it can get really overwhelming when you have just piles and piles of stuff. But the best solution is basically empty out your closet, sort through it all by type, and make sure the items are clean and free of stains and tears, right? If you don't want it, nobody else does either. So you only want to compile things that are clean and easy to repurpose, and then divide it by type: jackets, shirts, pants, and the like. So it's easier for consignment shops and third-party organizations to sort through them for the donation.
Right. You said consignment shop or third-party organizations. Are those donation bins that we see in various places, are they for real? Or do you have advice at Wirecutter about the best places or ways to donate clothes?
So everybody thinks about Goodwill and the Salvation Army when it comes to donating their old cast-offs, but those places get overwhelmed quite easily. So personally, I'm a big fan of donating locally to nonprofits and vending organizations, such as your mutual aid branches, places of worship, even the Native American Heritage Association or your local United Way can be a good place for these types of things. For those donation bins themselves, those can also be an option, but typically those places only accept clothing that are branded with that particular company. So you want to be careful when you're deciding to go there.
When it comes to the toss pile, meaning clothing you don't think you can resell or donate because they may be these pieces stained or damaged, like you were mentioning before, what can you do with that stuff? Are there any good, easy alternatives to just throwing them in the trash?
Yeah, upcycle them. That's the easiest solution, really. You can take your old shirts, tear them up, and turn them into repurposed, rags for cleaning your kitchen or your bathtub. You can turn them into dog bedding and donate them to a local animal shelter. There are all sorts of things that you can do with these items that you didn't think you'd be able to reuse again.
And how about selling your nicer clothes, ones that are in good condition and you think might be appealing for resale? I'm always surprised when I see used clothes and things like that on eBay or other resale sites. I don't know why, because the thrift shops, they certainly sell them. But any tips for making a little money on your nicer items without having to become an expert online retailer yourself?
Yeah, basically you want to present your clothes in the best possible light. So that make sure that they're clean, that you've seen them, and take really good photos and just get really descriptive and flowery with the language, because you want someone to be excited about purchasing your used wardrobe. And as you said, places like eBay, Poshmark, The Real, ThredUp are all great places to resell your used clothing.
Listener writes about starting to go through your stuff from the beginning. Empty my closet? What if that requires an excavator? What's option B? I think that was to what you said in your first answer, which were you suggesting that people take everything out of the closet and then go through everything, like lay it all out on the bed or something like that?
Yeah, I would recommend doing it in small steps, in pieces, because it will get overwhelming if you just toss everything out and you're going to like give up after 20 minutes. So take it day by day. Do one section of your closet and work your way out from there. And I would mostly focus on items that you can donate today, right? You can't really expect to get rid of your down jacket in the middle of July. Nobody's going to want that. So
Mm.
focus on gently used items that are relevant for the season you're donating in.
How do you decide what that may be damaged is worth getting repaired? You also write about that.
Yeah, there are a lot of simple repairs that you can make without a sewing machine. Just a really quick repair kit. You can fix jammed zippers, missing buttons, or repair holes. Um, sites sites like Sew It Academy and Craftsy have really easy tutorials you can follow. Even sewing TikTok is a great example of how you can learn how to repair and reuse items from your old wardrobe.
And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention preventing having to do this at all or having to do it much. And you also wrote about how changing our shopping habits and moving away from fast fashion is probably one of the best ways to avoid having to do a massive purge every year. What should people consider when weighing whether to buy a new piece of clothing?
It is really important to consider what you're buying and how often you're shopping. If you find yourself regularly having to go through your closet and donate bins upon bins of clothing and accessories, it's probably time to rethink your shopping habits. You want to invest in high quality items that are going to last and also, develop a habit of repairing items when the time comes.
Kaitlyn Wells, reporter for the New York Times product review website Wirecutter, joining us this week for a special pledge drive series we're doing about spring cleaning. Kaitlyn, thanks. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you then.
WNYC's journalism and storytelling is heard by millions of passionate listeners. Sponsors of our programming gain our listeners' attention and their respect. Learn about how your organization can support WNYC and WNYC Studios at sponsorship.wnyc.org.